imagine yourself driving in a car, and you've got a lot of things going on in your mind, right? And let's imagine that your mother-in-law is in the passenger seat. Behind her is your kid's youth sports coach, right next to your kid, and then right next to him or her is the my boss. So you're driving down the road and your mother-in-law wants to know where you're going for Thanksgiving and Christmas. The youth coach wants to talk about playing time and the development of your child. Your kid just wants to spend time with you. You also have your boss wanting to know what your goals are for next year and how you're finishing up this quarter. So you reach and you turn the radio up to kind of drown out all the expectations and all the people speaking into your life at once, when boom, you hit a speed bump. You pull over to find out that you put a hole in your oil pan, you blew out a tire, and your struts are shot. So it's not just the vehicle that's damaged, but your mother-in-law maybe hit the side window and now she has a concussion. The youth coach has spilled their coffee all over them. Your boss has whiplash and your kid's just in shock. Now all those things can be fixed, but it's going to take time, it's going to take patience, it's going to take money, and it's going to take sacrifice. And what we hope to do is try to avoid hitting that speed bump at such a fast rate.
I read a quote this past week that said, slow down before you hit the speed bump. It's just such a simple thought, and it was meant for just life in general, to slow down. But I think it is so important and so applicable to marriages.
We're often too distracted with other things going on. Kids, politics, health, parents, sports, social media.
And we're not undermining those things and their significance in your life by any means, but what happens is those things and those distractions become more important than your marriage, than working on your marriage. In that case, we don't see the speed bumps that are coming.
And what some of those speed bumps are big issues, right? That some of those distractions take our mind away from, like lack of intimacy, in-laws, finances, addiction, all things that ultimately in this culture, unfortunately, lead to divorce.
We are going to show you some ways and tools for you to work on your relationship. And in doing so, we're hoping that you slow down. In slowing down, it gives you a chance to connect with each other so that when you see the speed bump coming, you're prepared and you can approach it slowly and steadily. We're going to have speed bumps. We are. There's things that come up. But if we are communicating with each other and prepared and talking, then when we get to those speed bumps, the damage isn't as bad to the marriage, which is the car structure, or to all the people that are in the car and in around that relationship.
321 is listing 3 elements of things between the two of you that are going well.
Yes.
Right? Listing 2 things that could have gone better, and list 1 thing that you can take action on and work on immediately. All right?
And you kind of put a time frame. You can say, these things happened in the past week, or in the past month, whenever you've last had a chance to connect.
So in modeling this, my 3 things that are going well, I think we've had good quality time together. I think our communication has been pretty good. And working together on house projects, I think those have gone well.
Okay. The 3 things for me that I think have gone well between us. We've had a great team effort with our kids, getting our 3 girls in all the different directions. And if you peel back that layer, what that looked like is keeping the lines of communication open between the 2 of us. We had some good quality time this weekend, and I appreciated that. Keeping us on track financially, looking at refinancing our home, and you helping me understand and learn a little bit about that project or about that process was very helpful to me.
So now 2 things that could have gone better.
Dun, dun, dun.
Number 1, actually working on a monthly budget, and also holiday planning between our families can always seem to go better.
Yeah,
in my
and we've
opinion.
had some difficult conversations this week pertaining to those things, so I agree. The 2 things that I think could have gone better between the 2 of us this past week, me being a little bit more flexible in my timing and scheduling. I kind of get it in my mind that things should happen at a certain time, and I don't always take you and what you've got going on into consideration. And also how I speak to you sometimes in front of our children is not the most respectful. I have a lot of sarcasm in my voice and in my tone, and I don't think that when we disagree, that's a good model for our girls.
And we do disagree. One thing that we could take action on, for me, it's just planning our budget going into this time and season, maybe zeroing in a little more on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and that sort of thing.
The one action that I think I could definitely work on this week, be more proactive in asking what your plans are, to not just assume that you and I are on the same page in time and in what we have going on, but to ask what your schedule is and try and work us together so that we don't end up in frustration and you're going this way because you had this planned and I'm going this way because I had that planned. So that's the idea of the 3-2-1. 3 things that have gone well between you this week, 2 things that could have gone better, and then the one action that you are going to take regarding those 2 issues. 5 things, and it doesn't have to be a concrete thing. It could be 5 places that you have most enjoyed going with your spouse.
Your 5 favorite restaurants, your 5 favorite date spots.
Yeah. It doesn't only have to be about your relationship with each other, but it also just sparks conversation. So the way we're modeling it today is we're actually doing 5 things that we appreciate about the other person. And again, you can put that in a time frame, what they've done in the past week, or you can put that into a long term, what you just, 5 reasons you fell in love with this person. Or so it doesn't have a strict boundaries of what you can do. This is just called the quick 5.
And we try to keep them positive.
Yes, definitely. Quick 5 is a positive activity. 5 things, John, that I appreciated about you, particularly this past week. You cooked dinner last night, and you can't underestimate the value in that and helping me as I'm navigating with the kids and doing all the other stuff, that you were able to cook dinner. It literally took one less thing off of my plate. Haha. Number 2, you make time for us. I know you've got a new territory in your job and you're very busy, but this past week you've taken and carved out some time for you and I. You help me navigate through kid drama and how I should help, and what I think my involvement should be is not always what needs to happen. And so you kind of help me pull back the reins a little bit and see things from different perspectives, and I appreciate that. You make me laugh a lot, and that's always such good stuff.
Not always on purpose.
One of the things that I appreciate you is that you take time for each of the girls, that you reach out to them and let them know that they are loved and cared for and love and that sort of thing. And I just appreciate that so much when I see that happening. So
thank you. I appreciate you staying awake driving home from Florida. And helping me drive. I appreciate you planning the menu for the week. It's easy for me to cook, especially when we know what we're having. I appreciate you taking time with the kids and playing cards. I think that's something that they can take with them, and it's fun. It warms my heart to see them interacting with you. I appreciate you running errands when I'm off on my new job. There's a lot of things I don't have time for, but by you doing that, it helps me a lot. I enjoyed when you came to work with me yesterday. You got to travel with me, and I appreciate that quality time together. And I know you have to stop what you're doing at home and leave all that stuff to come spend the day in a car, and that means a lot to me. So
that's the last activity. Again, it's called a quick 5, and there's really no set boundaries of what you can include in that. It's just a way to spark some conversation, keeping it positive, keeping it light, and just open the lines of communication.
Like you said, sparks communication, gives you something to talk about after you've been married for a while, or sometimes after you've been married for a few days. You don't want to run out of things to talk about.
Nope. And all of these tools and this communication will help when you do hit those speed bumps. You slow down in this process and take time for each other. And then when you do get to those speed bumps, you can go over them a lot more smoothly and easier without the damage. Hope these have been helpful, and we look forward to hearing back from you. Thanks.
See you next First Friday.